flies off all by itself. It does it itself. Okay?
Yeah, you're right there with me though.
Every time I open the hangar door to go flying, I realize that I'm one of the lucky guys doing something that I dreamt of as a kid.
I guess I was fairly apprehensive the whole time that I was flying in combat, and I guess there's good reason to feel that way. I'm there to cause a lot of damage and a lot of harm, and therefore they would like to damage me. And I was 25 years old at that time. Top Gun was really a thrill. I must have done well in actual combat because at the time I was just a lieutenant junior grade, which is a first lieutenant in the Air Force. And so I may have been the very first lieutenant junior grade to go through Top Gun. That was the dream of a lifetime come true. I had wanted to be an aeronautical engineer and a test pilot just like my dad from the time I was 10 years old. STS-27 was my third launch, and it was only the second launch after the Challenger accident. We were a top secret, classified Department of Defense mission, so to this day, if I told you what we carried, you could never leave this hangar. You'd be. Well, I will never forget. We maneuvered the arm, and Mike Mullane was my arm operator, so he moved the arm over there, and we brought up the television image of the right wing, and I looked at what I was seeing, and I said to myself, we are going to die. To be an airline pilot, there was mandatory age 60 retirement. I was a NASA astronaut until I was 50 years old. And so I looked at the situation, and I had known a number of Southwest airline pilots. And they were just like me. They were flying because they loved to fly. Well, there's a lot of piloting that goes into it, a tremendous amount of piloting that goes into it, because you're going to wind up passing other airplanes. You're going to get in a duel with another airplane that's fairly closely matched. So there's a ton of satisfaction from doing that. And hey, let's just talk about the racing itself. It's fun to fly low, but it's dangerous. And so the only time I fly low is at the Reno air races. But watching the ground go by you at 400 and 500 miles an hour is pretty darn thrilling, because it's really scooting on by. And that's fun. That's really fun. I had always been fascinated by racing planes because they're sleek, streamlined, and they go real fast. There's that need for speed again, and they're raced around a pylon. And so I determined that I could break the existing altitude record for altitude and horizontal flight for that category of airplane. And in fact, I did that in 1991. And I'm fond of saying that if I have done well as an aviator, it's because my dad was the one who taught me how to fly. And he didn't just teach me how to fly, he taught me the why of it as well. He taught me the aerodynamics behind it, the reasons that you're doing things, not just how to do it, but why you're doing it is also very important.
It's here in the shadow of the Cheyenne Mountain, deep in the beauty of Colorado, that you'll find Peterson Air Force Base. Gentlemen,
How you doing there?
home for over 50 years now to one of the most sophisticated defense systems in the world, scrambling fighters to protect the entire North American continent. And it was here, one December evening back in 1955, that the whole system was successfully infiltrated by a 5-year-old child. When this red phone rings, a 4-star general or the President of the United States is supposed to be calling.
He is all military, eh?
Oh, yes.
Terry Van Kuren's dad was base commander at the time.
Dad answers it with his very best military demeanor, you know, Colonel Jaup.
It wasn't the president or a 4-star general.
There's this long silence. And this little voice says, "Is this Santa Claus?"
The commander of the Combat Alert Center thinks someone is pulling his leg.
Dad thinks somebody's playing a trick on him, you know. "This is Colonel Jaup, the commander of the Combat Alert Center. Who's this?" And this little voice now is crying. "Is this one of Santa's helpers then?" So Dad finally figured out this really was a kid.
So that's the ad there. That started it all.
"Hey kiddies, call me direct."
It turns out Sears had put an advertisement in the local paper. "Hey kids, give Santa a call." But someone got one critical number wrong.
Roger, Aegis.
The military's defenses were overrun. Colonel Harry Shoup decided if you can't beat 'em, join 'em.
He called the radio station and said, "This is Colonel Jaup, the Combat Alert Center commander, and we have an unidentified flying object. Why, it looks like a sleigh." Well, of course, craziness.
All those on the line, we can confirm that Santa is airborne at this time.
But that one wrong number has led to a little bit of military Christmas madness that has touched millions of children.
We had no idea that this would turn into one of the largest outreach programs there is in all of government.
So this is it here?
And this is where the magic happens. This is where
Captain Jeff Davis, Director of Public Affairs for NORAD, says over 1,200 volunteers are now mobilized at this base every Christmas Eve.
He can track Santa all the way across the ocean.
Santa's sleigh is moving north toward Canadian airspace from
The website has well north of 20 million visitors.
Well, he'll be there around 11:30 tonight.
But it's the phone calls, the personal connection
Just put one in that corner and then the other one in that one.
Okay.
that keeps volunteers like Petty Officer First Class Scott Peddle and his wife Linda, both Canadians by the way,
Nice.
volunteering.
It's that feeling of such a special time of year. We've always made sure that it was a special time of year for us, where our family was always together, and you know, as we had kids and
It's for
you
the
bring them
kids.
up,
Kicks
and
off the season.
it's all about that.
And just a short sled ride away, you'll find Langley, British Columbia, and the home of Owen Stevenson, 11. He likes to show his brother Finton around the site,
As they track Santa on a test flight.
and he's been into it for some time. In fact,
Oh, say what? They're coming.
here he is at the age of 4, calling in.
We got the milk and cookies for Santa now.
7 years later, Mom Shannon says he still gets as excited.
He really is into this. Wow.
Sort of.
How many times do you check it out?
It's hard to count.
You're a man of few words, aren't you?
Sometimes.
But make no mistake, he's watched every video. The NORAD Santa tracker is still very much part of his Christmas.
So that's Santa. He's a pretty nice guy, eh?
Yeah, he is. Those are for Santa.
Ooh,
Shouldn't eat them.
sorry.
How does reindeer fly? Well,
Back in Colorado, the volunteers are going flat out. By the end of the night, Santa trackers will talk to over 100,000 kids from all over the world.
In this one here, it looks like he spotted Santa.
And over the decades, Terry Van Kuren has tracked the success.
Oh, so and this is just filled, eh?
Yeah.
All
yeah.
the
and all
stories over the
different
years.
languages.
Save the articles, all started by that hard-nosed career military dad of hers.
But he must have been a softie underneath.
But he was a softie underneath. He just loved Christmas and he loved kids.
When you think of the millions of kids that he helped put a smile on their face on Christmas Eve.
It's just, yeah, makes me feel so happy.
The calls have been pouring in.
They'll be arriving there between 9 o'clock and midnight your time.
Sometimes, says Captain Jennifer Stadnick, yet another Canadian, they can be quite funny.
A lot of the times they tell the children that Santa won't come to their house until they're asleep, and then all of a sudden they'll hear the phone drop, and there'll be nobody on the line, and and then the mom or dad will pick up and say, he just ran up to his bed. And
It's been known to happen in the Stevenson household. Sooner to bed, sooner it's Christmas.
Good night, Owen.
Good night. Oh, Mom.
Yeah?
Don't let Mr. Sheridan eat those cookies.
Okay.
I didn't. Red Sharon, CBC News, in Langley, British Columbia.
NORAD is the North American Aerospace Defense Command. We've been around since 1958.
Our mission at NORAD is aerospace control, aerospace warning, and maritime warning.
This was really an accident of history. It started back in 1955.
Sears and Roebuck actually put out an ad to kids saying, call Santa at this number, but the number was actually misprinted.
On December 24th, our continental NORAD air defense sector or region here was on duty, and all of a sudden, the dreaded red phone started ringing.
So when that phone went off, it was like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
So the colonel at the time who was on duty was Colonel Shope, and he answered the phone, and there was a little girl on the phone that tentatively asked if he was Santa.
And he was like, I'm not Santa, but I have radar here, and I can tell you where he is.
And then he directed the whole rest of the crew to do the same with any other calls that came in during that night.
And ever since then, we've taken on this awesome responsibility of tracking Santa for everyone.
NORAD tracks Santa the same way that we track any other threat the other 364 days of the year. We use our satellites in space, satellites that are normally used to capture that infrared flash of light that's created with a missile launch. We use that, of course, to follow Rudolph's red nose. It is a huge partnership of a lot of different people, and we couldn't do this any other way.
Our NORAD Track Santa Operations Center, which has over 1,200 volunteers, took over 114,000 phone calls. One of our major partners, of course, is Microsoft and the Internet Explorer team, who helped us with our beautiful website for this year.
If you were using it on a tablet or something, you would have that ability to touch the screen, and then you can zoom in on Santa's Village.
And in Santa's Village, you can go and click on a building that has a movie theater with all of our videos. Or you can click on another building that has all the beautiful holiday music.
And there'll be a different game every day, housed in the game room.
I love the fact that so many families come together and do this together as a tradition.
I think around the world, everybody respects the job that he has to do, and that, you know, of all the things that are going on in the world today, that's probably one of the most important jobs that any of them have, and that's bringing goodwill and cheer to children.
Hi, I'm General Glenn Van Hert, Commander of NORAD in U.S. Northern Command. NORAD tracks the skies and approaches to North America 24/7, 365 days a year. But every year on December 24th, we have a special holiday mission.
This year, we've asked some of our military and civilian members' little ones to help us explain just how NORAD is able to track Santa Claus on his journey across the globe on December 24th.
$30, $85, 100 years old. Is it over 100? 400?
400.
No, he's 1,100 years old. He's more than all the numbers. He's not 1 year old. He's not a baby. He's a big grandpa. My dad is 31.
Well, there's certainly a lot of different answers amongst the kids on how old Santa Claus is. And he certainly isn't a baby. We heard that one too.
He's definitely not 1 year old. So.
With his sled and his reindeer. He has invisible rocket boosters. That's of the flying reindeers.
The flying reindeer.
That's why he put invisible spray on him. But if he accidentally sprays an elf with it, then you'll get invisible.
Invisible elves, huh?
Invisible elves.
They got some invisible spray that helps him get around the world fast. So it's amazing what they come up with as far as how he travels. There's some fast reindeer, by the way.
That is. I mean, stealth technologies, they already know about it.
80 miles per hour. 100 seconds per hour. Medium fast. Like this.
I think I'm going to have to go back and do some math. We're talking seconds per hour. I'm not sure exactly how to figure that one out.
1 million seconds per hour. And then his, I don't know, his visual of the windmill, I'm not even sure how fast he was going.
Wait, do you have cameras? Do you even have cameras at your chimney? You use satellites with little cameras built inside of them. I always watch the tractor before bed. Without a satellite, we would not be able to do anything. We can track Santa from here and watch on your phone or tablet or iPad.
And so I'm impressed. The young man knows about satellite capability and all the devices. He was clearly watching Santa Claus on phones, on the computers, on iPads.
And he knew where to go to find Santa. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be tracking this year.
Yeah. So watching these young kids is really exciting and gets me all pumped up for NORAD Track Santa coming up in December. This is just the beginning, but they're clearly ready, and I look forward to making NORAD Track Santa happen again here in
Yes, sir. And you can't help but smile when just watching that the excitement of this year and then watching tracking Santa. So it's going to be a pretty exciting time this year. Thank you to all the NORAD and U.S. Northern Command American and Canadian parents and their children who volunteered to participate in this production.
Thank you to our service members and our civilians who keep the watch 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And thank you for being part of our NORAD Track Santa tradition. Happy holidays from all of us here at NORAD.
You can track Santa on December 24th by calling the NORAD Track Santa Operations Center, downloading our mobile app, and visiting our website, noradsanta.org.